The Last of Us Part 1 and God of War were both heavily revered as groundbreaking titles during their release, both pushing the boundaries of gaming standards of their generation. One is a cover-based shooter, and the other is a beat-em-up RPG. So why compare the two if they seem so different? The story, that's why. They're both story-driven games about a zombie-slaying grumpy old guy taking a peppy kid on a great big journey. And you're probably thinking, The Last of Us came out first, so God of War is just ripping it off, right? No, not really. I mean, technically kinda, but they both take a very different approach for how they handle the journey. The gameplay for The Last of Us involves a lot of walking through deteriorating neighborhoods and cities. It opens with this incredible sequence where a zombie outbreak has just started and you have no idea what's happening or where you're going, and it's just pure panic and chaos. The neighbor who's turned breaks in and you shoot him, and you feel the horror of murdering someone you once knew. You get in your car with your daughter and brother and try to drive away from everything, but it just gets more and more crazy. People are crashing into each other and zombies are popping out of everywhere and eating people. It's absolutely wild and I love it. It never gets that fun again. Half of this game consists of picking up ladders and moving boxes. It's not like anywhere cool or recognizable really. You're just venturing through abandoned towns most of the time. Although they do a great job at putting a story in every broken car and overgrown shopping mall. Soft acoustic plays and light peers through the window as you open your 50th drawer with nothing in it. But you trudge through all the exploring and searching so you can finally get to another firefight. Since it's an apocalypse, the ammo is scarce, so you typically enter a fight with nothing but 3 bullets and a brick, and the game says, okay, kill 10 guys somehow. It's interesting how they make you savor your equipment for when it's absolutely necessary, and this requires you to do a lot of strategizing. But I also fucking hate it. Shootouts are so goddamn long and tedious that you trudge through them to get to the boring exploring. Don't even get me started on the zombie fights. The zombies all run straight at you with no second thoughts, like zombies, but this is terrible game design because I only have a bat with 5 uses left for 7 zombies and it takes 3 uses to kill 1. All the fights require so much precision and knowledge of NPC movement that one missed headshot will end the run. In God of War, combat is a major element to the game. Most of the time, you're in a fight. And this kind of game design is risky because the fighting needs to be a lot of fun. Luckily, it is. You feel each hit of the Leviathan axe in your controller, and the slow motion after parries is incredibly satisfying. I feel like a badass when I tear through an enemy or crush a troll. I still pick up this game today just to fight enemies. There's this fun skill tree and upgrade system that makes you excited to try out your new moves each time you unlock something. As the game goes on, you get increasingly more and more powerful until you are shredding through waves like a lawnmower. It starts with some small story beats and a mild troll fight, and then it sends you into this awesome battle with a god that has you beating ass and slapping meat, one skull-crushing hit after another until you finally beat him. And then the game is alright for another 8 hours. It's easy to get lost in the game's repetitive nature in the early stages, but it reels you back in with cinematic cutscenes and an awesome feature that makes you tear apart a mini-boss once you kill it. This feature should be implemented into every game, I'm telling you. I want to do what I did to this ogre to every Elden Ring boss. But, as a wise man once said, good combat can't keep a sane man hooked for a whole 30 hours. So how come I've beaten the game 3 times already? That's because the story sneaks up on you. By the time you make it up the mountain and meet Mimir, that's when the game really starts and you're like, okay, let's do this! Characters grow in you and make you start caring about them with their humanity and charismatic quirks. And as the game progresses, the stakes become higher and higher. At the start, it's just a dinky journey up a mountain. But towards the end, you sense that every action you take has a greater effect in all 9 of the realms. For the last third, it really gets hard to set the game down, and it just keeps building and teases the end, so that once you finally reach it, it's incredibly rewarding. The Last of Us's plot doesn't feel quite as consequential, despite it literally being a journey to make a cure for the disease. I just don't really feel the weight of it. Almost everyone you encounter is an asshole, so it doesn't feel necessary. Both Ellie and Joel don't like anybody else, and can clearly survive just fine without a cure. Hell, during this game you kill like 200 people anyways, so what do they care? So discovering a vaccine feels more of a moral obligation than something that needs to be done or else. By the end, no tension is built at all. You go through the entire game on autopilot, doing the same exact fights and platforming, and then boom, it's the end. No cure, Ellie and Joel are living together. There was nothing about this game that really stuck with me. It might sound like I hate the game, but I really had fun with it. The characters are interesting, and it was cool to explore a post-outbreak world and what it had to offer. There's just so many other games that do better at everything, which is why The Last of Us Part 1 earns a B-. God of War, on the other hand, is a game that redefines what RPGs should be. With top-of-the-line voice performances, a chilling soundtrack, breathtaking cinematics, and a story that will leave you begging for Ragnarok as soon as possible. God of War is a solid A.
Must be better than this.
No, my boy! My dear sweet boy!
Freya.